Are we really watching Ryan Reynolds spiral into a legal meltdown over hurt feelings? Or have we stumbled into something far darker? You'd think by now the dust would have settled between him and Justin Baldoni, yet here we are, smack in the middle of another Hollywood firefight. If you're rolling your eyes because you already know every twist in this saga, hold that thought, because what's unfolding now might just shake up everything you thought you believed. We are about to see how a so-called prank or petty dig can grow into a scorching battle for reputations and careers, with nobody ready to blink first. And spoiler alert, hashtag Team Baldoni is far from finished making their voices heard. Buckle up, because the gloves just came all the way off. Everybody watching this has seen the headlines, the passive-aggressive jabs, the rumors, the leaked statements. We all know how Justin Baldoni and Ryan Reynolds got locked in this bizarre feud. There's no need to rewind the tape. But let's talk about the real reason folks refuse to move on. This fight just won't quit. Ryan, with his razor-sharp wit and no apologies attitude, thought it'd be fun to poke at Baldoni in the slyest way possible. Usually, he gets away with teasing people because it's part of his brand. But this time, his comedic bullet seemed to ricochet and wound his own image. Many still argue it's just a case of oversensitivity. But hashtag Team Baldoni folks, and I'm one of them, say not so fast. There's a difference between poking fun and trying to wreck a man's career. For Baldoni, the issue has always been, at what point does harmless satire become a direct attack on your livelihood? Apparently, that point got crossed a long time ago. Now it's more than just a joke. It's legal documents, courtroom drama, and he said she said fireworks. Yet somehow both sides still keep feeding the flames. But that isn't even the main problem. The biggest question is whether Baldoni's entire brand, this mission to redefine masculinity and treat people with respect, was turned into a comedic punchline simply because Ryan felt unstoppable. That's the spark still burning, and every new legal or social media jab throws more fuel onto the fire. If you're waiting for peace, don't hold your breath. So let's cut to the chase. Ryan's legal response painted Justin as some oversensitive winner who can't handle a joke. And before you roll your eyes about lawsuits in Hollywood, here's why it matters. That stance basically undercuts any conversation about workplace respect, personal boundaries, or even fair treatment among peers. Fans who side with Ryan claim it's all free speech. They say calling Baldoni a predator or making a film caricature of his woke image isn't illegal, just comedic. But if we, for one moment, step into Baldoni's shoes, we see a man who poured years into reshaping how men interact with the world, only to have another celebrity mock him on one of the biggest platforms imaginable. That's humiliating. And yes, humiliating someone before millions has consequences far beyond hurt feelings. Imagine if someone made you the laughingstock of a franchise known for its snarky humor. Picture the memes, the tweets, the behind-the-scenes comments from potential collaborators. It's a ripple effect that can destroy future deals and brand partnerships. When folks ask, why sue over a little satire? The answer is simple, because at some point repeated jabs turn into a public takedown. And by the way, if Ryan's comedic genius was so innocent, why is he so eager to dodge the legal spotlight? His team filed a motion to dismiss, claiming this is all a big overreaction. The real kicker, though, is that people are starting to wonder, if Ryan has nothing to hide, what's all the frantic scrambling about? Now, many of you who've been streaming every update already know Blake Lively isn't just sitting pretty on the sidelines. She's right in the trenches, throwing her own punches. Because apparently Baldoni crossed lines with her, too. On paper, it's your classic star defends foul scenario. But you know how it really looks to hashtag Team Baldoni fans? It looks like a well-orchestrated double team. The timing, the intensity, the allegations, everything lines up so perfectly with Ryan's attempt to discredit Justin that it's hard not to raise a brow. Yes, if Blake truly felt threatened or harassed, her story matters. But the question is, why bring it to light right when her husband's feud with Baldoni is hitting nuclear levels? Some folks are calling it a sincere outcry for justice, while others say it's purely strategic. Of course, we can't pretend to know every detail about her experience. But from a distance, it sure doesn't help Ryan's just a joke defense. Now, it's not just humor in question. It's alleged intimidation, disrespect, and behind-the-scenes schemes to ruin reputations. For a hashtag Team Baldoni, it's validating to see the conflict shift. It's no longer about one comedic giant picking on a lesser-known director. Instead, it spotlights how multiple top-tier celebs can come together, accidentally or otherwise, to crush someone they see as a threat. And if you stand with the underdog, you have to question everything about how these accusations magically surfaced at the perfect time. You've seen the posts, the hashtags, and the endless threads analyzing every single statement. If there's one thing social media loves, it's a celebrity train wreck. But there's a real reason so many everyday folks are siding with Baldoni. They've been there. They've experienced toxic workplaces or social circles, and they know how easily one powerful person's inside joke can turn into a relentless wave of harassment. On the flip side, hashtag Team Reynolds stands say lighten up. It's free speech. But here's where it gets juicy. We're not in a stand-up comedy club. We're in Hollywood, where reputations get made and destroyed in the blink of an eye. What might seem like free speech in theory can feel like a targeted war in practice. Fans are also pointing out how Ryan's comedic brand often hinges on mocking others. Yes, that's his niche, sarcastic commentary that's made him millions. But does that success give him a pass to drag someone else's name in front of the entire world? For hashtag Team Baldoni, the answer is a firm no. They argue that if you claim to stand for empathy and decency, which, ironically, Ryan does when it suits him, then you shouldn't be out here tossing grenades and walking away like it's all in good fun. At the end of the day, social media has become the real battleground. Court docs are one thing, but a wave of public sentiment, especially in the era of boycotts and cancel culture, can shape how future projects get made. And guess which side is gaining momentum? The word hypocrisy gets thrown around a lot in showbiz, but this fiasco practically redefines it. Think about Ryan's public persona, a family man, comedic genius, a part owner of major brands, always ready with a witty tweet. Then think of Baldoni's brand, the champion of healthy masculinity, the guy who wants men to be open and kind. So how'd we get here? Two men who supposedly stand for doing good locked in a nasty fight that feels anything but good? If you listen to hashtag Team Baldoni, the hypocrisy is crystal clear on Ryan's part. He's built a whole empire on roasts and banter, yet acts stunned when someone calls him out for going too far. Meanwhile, Justin's critics say he's pretending to be woke while stirring up lawsuits at every turn. But if you dig past the surface-level finger-pointing, one thing stands out. Justin has been remarkably consistent in his message about respect and empathy. He might be pushing back with legal measures, but that's because every other avenue failed. He tried to keep it classy, and Ryan kept doubling down on the public digs. So, from a hashtag Team Baldoni perspective, calling him a hypocrite is just a smokescreen. And let's not gloss over the fact that comedic jabs can have real-life consequences. Sure, jokes can be funny, but if your entire comedic routine is singled out on one real person, someone with a significantly smaller platform than you, does that cross a moral line? If you believe in championing the underdog, you already know the answer to that question. Now, let's be real. Hollywood is all about who you know who owes you a favor and which agencies will bend over backward to keep you happy. Ryan's star power gives him a massive network of supporters and enough clout to make big moves behind the scenes. And that's where the real danger to Baldoni's career lurks. Justin has definitely gained popularity with his directorial projects and philanthropic messages, but he's not the same household name. If Ryan leans on his connections, say, calling up an executive here or an agent there, he can quietly blacklist Baldoni. That's exactly what hashtag Team Baldoni supporters are worried about, and it's the main reason folks rally behind him in the first place. You might remember those rumors about agencies dropping clients or severing ties when a bigger star demands it. We all know that's not just Hollywood lore. It can happen. And if you poke the wrong bear, especially one with the industry wrapped around his finger, you'll find yourself out in the cold real fast. So while the lawsuits grab headlines, the true battle is in the shadows. It's the phone calls, the whispers in the boardroom, the strategic alliances that can nudge a career off a cliff. And if you think that's too dramatic, well, you must be new here. In Tinseltown, a casual suggestion from an A-lister can ruin your entire trajectory. That's why hashtag Team Baldoni is urging everyone to pay attention to the bigger power imbalance. At this point, the question isn't who's right, but rather how will this end? We've seen enough lawsuits to know that a judge's ruling can sometimes feel like a side note compared to the court of public opinion. If Ryan somehow escapes liability in court, that doesn't mean fans will forgive or forget. And if Justin manages to prove his claims in a big way, Ryan's comedic empire might take a devastating hit. What we do know is that Justin isn't backing down. Whether he wins or not, he's making a statement. No celebrity, no matter how powerful, should be allowed to steamroll someone else's reputation for laughs. You can call him persistent or label him a troublemaker, but at least he's staying true to that core belief. Stand up for what's right, no matter the consequences. Meanwhile, Ryan seems stuck between being his usual charismatic self and trying to bury this controversy before it grows any bigger. His supporters might want him to keep up the "it's just a joke" vibe, but that line is starting to wear thin. Audiences aren't exactly buying it anymore, especially when they see real fallout hitting a real person. Could they settle out of court? Possibly, but that won't erase the tension that's built up. Even if money changes hands or NDAs get signed, this drama has opened a can of worms neither side can easily close. And if you ask me, hashtag Team Baldoni has already scored a major win by exposing how vicious Hollywood's power dynamics can be, especially when you rub a bigger star the wrong way. So there you have it, another chapter in this ongoing roller coaster that shows no sign of slowing down. You've got Ryan, scrambling to make light of everything with a flashy grin, Blake in full protect my man mode, and Justin quietly refusing to be squashed like a bug. We don't need to rehash every detail you already know. Just remember this. Sometimes, the person making the loudest jokes is the one most terrified of real accountability. Whether you've been hashtag Team Baldoni from day one, or you're just catching up, it's clear who's playing offense and who's playing defense right now. It's bigger than a thin-skinned meltdown or a petty parody. It's about standing up for your own voice when an A-lister wants to drown you out. Will Baldoni come out on top? Only time, and maybe a few more courtroom battles, will tell. But one thing's for sure. This feud is a masterclass in how quickly a Hollywood spat can morph into an all-out war. Thanks for supporting the Gossip Wire. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more of the hottest celebrity news online.